Oh, hey, everybody, and welcome in. It's the Portman Fantasy Football League podcast. We're the fantasy football show that gives you a peek inside the life and times of our Dynasty League. With me tonight is my guest, Gabriel, a.k.a. Laborbus, formerly known and, well, I guess, temporarily known as Little Baby Sheepman, as that title has now, that yoke of that title has been partially lifted and will be passed off to Andrew, who isn't able to attend tonight. He's got some parental duties, so it's just the two of us locking down this show. And what we're doing tonight, folks, is Gabriel sat down with us twice over the summer to do the NFC and AFC North divisional reviews, and we're going to recap that and see how we did with those predictions. So, Gabriel, how are you doing?
Good evening, Mike. Doing good in Quebec, in Canada, and ready to talk some football during the boring off season.
Okay. The offseason has been somewhat unexciting, but I want to take a quick pause and rewind time a little bit. We haven't had a chance to talk to you about your Commanders and how they knocked my Lions out of the playoffs and then, didn't take it the step further. So, how are you feeling as a Commanders fan going into next season based upon your performance, what you've seen thus far?
It was encouraging to see the team finally making the playoffs and winning a game without RG3 or 15 years of shame, I'll say.
Okay.
But I feel like our defense is, the cornerbacks are too weak. We need to draft one this year, and we just added Deebo Samuel, so we'll hope he gets us to the next step.
Yeah, so let's talk about that Deebo Samuel trade. They gave up a fifth. They got Deebo in his contract. Do you think Deebo is washed, or is there enough left in him to help this team advance one step further?
I like the fact that a fifth-round pick is not a huge commitment to a player, because watching Deebo Samuel last year, he did look washed a little bit. Is that because the 49ers were a mess? Maybe. But he's not the Deebo Samuel that we saw in 2021. I think he had his big year. But since then, he's not that guy. Maybe because of injuries, but I feel like Cliff Kingsbury and his air raid and all the sweeps could maybe help him get back on track. But I quite like Diami Brown, so I'm sad that Deebo comes in as the second.
Well, anything can happen between now and the start of the season. So hopefully Diami Brown sticks with the team and has an emergence, if not this season, the year after. Because I don't see Deebo Samuel a long-term fit with the Commanders as of right now.
I'm with you on this one. He's getting up there in age too. I think he's 29, 30.
Yeah.
Like that.
And if he has a real down year, I don't see him sticking around beyond the 1 year.
Yeah, but is he even under contract for more than a year, or?
No, I think this is probably his last. If you want, I will go to. Bear with me. I'm going to look up my little resource here. Go to Spot Track, and I'm going to look up Deebo Samuel. As I'm looking this up, it is really chugging along. Come on. It's giving me all the free agents, but not Deebo Samuel. Why is Deebo not coming?
It's a $5 million cap hit, so it's way less than I thought he had.
Oh. Okay, so he's re-up. He's got a contract till 2029, but 2026 becomes voidable. So his year 30. So next year, when he would have it would be a $12 million cap hit if they were to cut him. So 2026, in theory, is his last year with the team if they don't cut him early.
Yeah, but he does count as a $31 million dead cap for the Niners in 2025. That's a massive blow.
That is, yeah. That is. Oh. Hey, all right. Well, hopefully a new environment helps him out. Okay, there are some new pieces of news I want to get through. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rifle through all of this news. If there's anything you want to chat about, we'll circle back to it, all right? So first things first, the only fantasy relevant player that was franchise tagged was T. Higgins. This is the second year he's been franchise tagged, and he's going to go back to Cincinnati. Surprisingly, quarterback Sam Darnold was not tagged, so he's going to hit the free market and go somewhere. Second place, we got trade talks. Matt Stafford did not get traded. He did stay with the Rams on a restructured contract. As you mentioned, Deebo Samuel was traded to the Commanders for a fifth. San Francisco is also entertaining trade talks for Brendan Ayuk. Devontae Adams was in trade talks, but they just released him outright and said, "You're gone." DK Metcalf requested a trade and teams are now pursuing that. They also released Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett was let go by Seattle. Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce did say that he's going to play next season, so we'll see how that plays out. Buffalo re-signed Khalil Shakir to a 4-year, $60 million contract with $32 million guaranteed. Running back Saquon Barkley got paid. Did you see this? 2 years, $41.2 million, $20 million a year to become the highest paid running back in history. Congrats and good for him.
Deserves it.
He does. Raiders have released quarterback Gardner Minshew, and that wraps up all of the news that I've got. Anything you want to talk about or anything you want to add?
10 minutes ago, the Chargers did release Joey Bosa.
No way.
Yeah, they did. And the move saved them $25 million in salary cap space.
That's massive. That's a big name to let go. Yeah. My goodness.
And Max Crosby signed a $100 million contract today for 3 years. So I think
that's big money.
Makes them the highest paid non-QB player in the league. Until Jamar Chase gets a contract, but for right now, Max Crosby is the guy. And I think there was some trade this morning. 2 trades, 1 or 2 to Chicago Bears got some offensive linemen.
Okay.
Not huge moves, but makes you wonder if Caleb Williams will take a step forward with a new offensive line next year.
Well, you got to protect the kid if you want to give him a shot.
Indeed.
Wow. So Joey Bosa is no slouch, but he is 30 years old. Interesting. I wonder what is next for Joey Bosa. It just goes to show that Jim Harbaugh still holds that Michigan, I don't like Ohio State players, and is just letting them go left, right, and center. Quentin Johnston, you're next, buddy.
Let's hope it does happen for Quentin Johnston, but I feel like Joey Bosa is getting paid some big bucks for someone who's injured more often than not in the last few years.
So 5-time Pro Bowler Joey Bosa was cut. $135 million was his contract. My goodness. That's big money.
Yeah, did they have a huge dead cap for this year, or?
I got to go look that up now. Now that I'm, my goodness, it just seems odd. He seemed like a blue chip franchise player, and now he's
now that his brother JJ
he can go play with his brother.
Sure not gonna come back. Have you seen the rumor?
What's that?
JJ Watt. JJ Watt is a owner of a English football
soccer. Yes, and the goalie made that bet.
But last game, Burnley did get scored. So sadly, I don't think JJ Watt is
coming back out of retirement. He's probably like, "Ooh, thank heavens." Okay, so Joey Bosa was 2025 was the last year of his contract. The dead cap hit is only 11 mil. So the cap hit if he stayed on the roster was 36 million. They cut him and will take the $11 million hit.
Yeah.
So now
they're saving 25 million. So
yeah,
it's like 10% of your budget. That's not nothing.
He has earned a total of $142 million in his NFL career, just from the NFL.
Just from the Chargers.
Just from the Chargers. Yep, $142 million.
Man, that's a lot of money.
That is. He's been in the league 9 years. He was in when he was 20. And he's not quite yet 30, but he'll be 30 before the league starts.
So he's still somewhat young.
Yeah. I think, Hey, somebody's going to go and pick this guy up. Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing. I did not know that. That's a big name. I wonder if it muddies the waters for those that were trying to make a trade for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, true. But the Commanders could use a guy like Joey Bosa. Since we've traded Chase Young and all those young defensive end
Vontez Sweat, I think his name was.
We're lacking some QB pressure, young QB pressure, because Bobby Wagner is getting quite up there in age.
That's not it. He's not it. Okay. Well, Gabriel, the reason why we got you back is we wanted to have a look at how our predictions from the summertime played out this year. So the first one we're going to look at is the AFC North. And for those following along at home, that's your Baltimore Ravens, your Cleveland Browns, your Pittsburgh Steelers, and your Cincinnati Bengals. So here's how, and because Andrew's not here, I'll play the role of Andrew. Here's how the season ended. Baltimore went 12-5, followed by Pittsburgh 10-7. Cincinnati missing the playoffs, going 9-8, and then Cleveland crapping the bed at 3-14. Now, my predictions were this: that Baltimore would win 11-6, so I was close by one. I had Cincinnati coming in second place, going 10-7. Again, off by one. I had Cleveland coming in right after that, going 10-7, so way off. And then I had Pittsburgh going 10-7, which they did. I got it bang on, but I had them being last in the division, and obviously they were second, so not exactly accurate. Now, Andrew, he had the Cincinnati Bengals, his favorite team, winning the division 11-6. Didn't happen. Followed by Baltimore 10-7. Then Pittsburgh 9-8 and Cleveland 8-9. So we all saw this division being far more competitive than it was. Cleveland dropped the ball, knocked themselves out, and Cincinnati was off to a really slow start and got hot towards the end, but not hot enough to make the playoffs. Gabriel, share your predictions.
I had the Baltimore Ravens finishing 12-5. So
bing, 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 bing. We got a winner.
Yeah, bang on this one. The other ones are sadder.
Okay. Sure. You went Cincy going 11-6.
Yeah, Cincy going 11-6 while they went 9-8. Pittsburgh going 6-11.
You did not like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I didn't like Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin is doing God's work with an average roster every year, so count him out. 6-11, and I had the Cleveland Browns going 10-7, but my guy Deshaun Watson dropped the soap once again.
Oh, that's a good reference. It's funny. Okay, you might have noticed in all the leagues that you and I share, where I owned Deshaun Watson, which was far more than I'd like to admit, I dropped him.
Yeah,
I'm done with him re-tearing his Achilles. I felt it's like, if I need to, I'll pick him up in 2026 when he's in the middle of his rehab or coming back from his rehab. But 2025, he's not going to see a football field if he even has a team to play for.
I mean, it's not like he was a game changer this past year. Like, he was mediocre to average last year, got injured, got re-injured. Now you're 2 years removed from the NFL. I don't think it's that easy to come back on an NFL team.
But he was also injured and removed due to his shenanigans in Houston, right? So he lost time. That's 4 years of his career that he's just lost to the game where he hasn't played due to injury. So at this point, I'm moving on. Like, I can't.
He had a fully guaranteed contract, I think, so he's getting paid while injured.
Yep. Doesn't have to take those hits.
That's a baller move, though.
It's disgusting. All right. We did our best in predicting this. I do have one question for you before we move on to the next part of this.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. They have no quarterback right now. Justin Fields is a free agent, and Russell Wilson is a free agent. Do they bring one of them back? If so, which one? Or do they pursue somebody else, like a Sam Darnold or a draft pick, or what did they do?
I've read multiple times that Justin Field was going to be the guy next year in Pittsburgh, and I thought he was signed on the team. I read that the end of the year of Russell Wilson kind of soured the team on him. So I don't think Russell Wilson is getting back for a last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's not a whole lot of QB you would want over Justin Fields. I mean, you have Sam Darnold, but that's pretty much it.
Okay.
And Gardner Minshew, I guess, but he just got released today also.
He did. To me, Gardner Minshew is your consolation prize if you miss out on other people. You bring him in, you know you can like do something with him, but he's not gonna be prolific. Justin Fields, I think, is that guy who gives you your best chance to win long term, especially if things turn around for him. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't feel like that's the draft to want to draft a quarterback. Like,
no, this is not.
Cam Ward could be good, but he's going to get picked like top 3. Shedeur Sanders, I've read that the interview were not great and teams were. I read that Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders are closer than Shedeur Sanders is close with Cam Ward.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how it plays out.
All right. Well, that part I am excited for. The agency is about to open. We have the rookie draft coming up here soon. It's going to present some fun, dynamic changes and shifts inside several of these teams. Okay, let's talk about the draft we did for the best fantasy lineup in this division. So I went with Lamar Jackson, Mark Henry, Jamar Chase, and Mark Andrews, and I picked George Pickens as my flex. Andrew went Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, and Amari Cooper. That didn't play out too well. Gabriel, who did you pick before we announced the winners?
I went with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, and Amari Cooper.
That did not play well. Okay, so you and I got nearly perfect. We went 4 for 5. Lamar Jackson, number 1 at 506 points. Derrick Henry, number 1 at 324. Jamar Chase, number 1 at 340. Mark Andrews, number 1 tight end in this group at 161 points. And then Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, was the best flex play at 226. So no one saw that one coming, I'm fairly certain. So we all take a little bit of a hit. But congratulations, you and I. 4 and 5, buddy.
It's quite the big gap between Henry and Brown and Chase and Brown. You have like 120 points between the best flex and the best positional player.
That is a big jump. But when you look at Derrick Henry and Jamar Chase, man, that's top of the food chain.
Yeah. Derrick Henry doesn't seem to slow down as a 31-year-old running back.
No, maybe he's going to be the new Frank Gore, just surviving and getting it done for teams.
A foot taller Frank Gore.
Okay, granted, foot taller, probably another 80 to 100 pounds more. Yeah. Okay.
I really thought, talking about Lamar Jackson, finishing number 1.
Yep.
I really thought I was going to win the trade of the year in Portman Fantasy League with my acquisition of Lamar Jackson.
Sorry, man. It didn't play out that way.
Nah.
You got him from Slick, didn't you?
Yeah, for a second rounder.
Second round pick for Lamar Jackson. It's a steal of a deal, man.
Yeah, I'm quite happy about it.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk NFC North. Again, for those following along at home, that's your Detroit Lions, your Green Bay Packers, your Minnesota Vikings, and your Chicago Bears. Here's how their seasons finished. Detroit finished 15-2, followed by Minnesota 14-3. Epic game in that final. Green Bay hung in there at 11-6, and Chicago all the way down at 5-12. Now, I went into this being a bit conservative. I wanted to go more, but I thought 12-5 was still pretty aggressive. Super happy that they got to 15-2. So I'll take that one on the chin. I thought Green Bay would be a tad bit better, going 10-7, but they still lived up to the 11-6. Did not see Minnesota coming out of nowhere and having the season that they did. I went 6-11. I thought they'd be terrible. Chicago, I was worried. That was the team I was worried about. Obviously, misplaced trust. They finished 5-12. I had them going 9-8. Andrew, on the other hand, he went with me 12-5 for Detroit, 9-8 for Green Bay. He went 8-9 for Chicago, and he thought Minnesota 3-14. Way off. Gabriel, how did you do?
Man, I really thought that division would be closer. Not
Yeah.
closer, that the team would be all good. Like, I thought they would be all medium because
Yeah,
they would
okay.
win games against each other, but it just did not happen. I had the Detroit Lions going 10-7. Obviously, they won 5 more games. I had the Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers going 10-7 and winning the division.
Winning the division. Yeah, let's not shy away from that.
But they went 11-6, while I think Jordan Love got injured a few games in the season that might have changed how it went. I had the Minnesota Vikings win 5-12. Like everyone, I thought they were doomed after that JJ McCarthy injury. Turns out Sam Darnold is the man. And I had the Chicago Bears going 8-9, and that did not go so well. I remember talking
No.
about with Andrew when we did that
Mm-hmm.
interview. Do you think the Chicago Bears have what it takes to do the playoff? And we were right, thinking they were not going to do the playoffs.
No. We all kind of anticipated that this would be a strong division, but I think you called it out that we didn't think they'd be as good as they were, more medium of the pack. So 10-7, closer in that range, as opposed to 15-2 and 14-3. And then Green Bay sitting at 11-6. Like that's a really strong divisional performance. And with the changes that happened to Detroit, and Minnesota's one quarterback away of repeating what they've done, because not a lot of changes are going to happen to this roster. Green Bay, if they lock down that wide receiver one, I think this team is also going to continue to compete. So I expect next year another strong division. And if Chicago takes that step forward with Ben Johnson, they fix the O-line, let's see. Like, this could be a really, really strong division. And last year's predictions might be a bit more accurate next year.
Do you think without the Aiden Hutchinson injury, they could have gone 17-0?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Losing 11 defensive starters for a 7-game stretch, that's more than your entire starting line.
Yeah.
That's everybody. Your entire starting lineup was gone for almost 7 games, and we only lost 2 of them. Yes, I honestly believe if Aiden Hutchinson, maybe if it was only Aiden Hutchinson and none of the other defensive starters, I think we could have gone 17-0. I think Aiden Hutchinson is fantastic, and he was on pace for a record-breaking season at tackles, sacks, pressures, the whole bit. So I think that the possibility was there. I wouldn't have ruled it out, but the 2 games that we lost are games that we could have got back had all of the defensive guys been there to play.
Yeah, I think they would have gone 17-0 also. Do they have a lot of players coming back, or do they
Yes,
have?
we do. I believe we've got one lineman that is up for contract renewal who might just become a free agent due to costing. And we have 2 defensive players, one of them being Carlton Davis, who was fantastic for us. So we got him on that 1-year rental. But if we don't re-sign him, then we got to shore up that cornerback position somewhere. So I think there'll be some guys that the team will have to do some stuff with, but not any real big names.
That's good news for next year.
I think that's great news because we lost 7 coaches.
Yeah.
So whoever comes in to fill in those coaching roles, having at least the team together can kind of coach the coach, right? To say, hey, this is how we work. This is what worked for us and what made us successful. And then maybe that coach can kind of like add to it and kind of continue on with it. So continuity, I think, will be important. It also doesn't sound like the Lions are going to spend money to go and get like a Myles Garrett, maybe Joey Bosa now that he's available, but it doesn't sound like they're going to spend up to get somebody to play offside with Aiden Hutchinson.
Do they have a big cap space, or are they tight for cash?
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, I think they're top 12 or top 10 with the amount of money they got.
That's the good thing about the Commanders for next year. They are
You got lots of space.
they have the second highest cap space.
All right, so the Lions are 12th. So they're right there with currently they got 51 million in cap space. Your Washington Commanders are third with 78 million. That's a lot. Las Vegas has got 95, and New England has got 128 million in cap space.
That's half your cap space. I think the cap is at 254, 250.
Yeah. So they got a lot of room. My
and
goodness.
They need a lot of room.
The New Orleans Saints are like minus 46 million. They're 46 million over the cap. Jeez.
I watched
Good luck.
I was watching a video today from a Saints fan saying they should start a rumor that they'll bring Devontae Adams back to the New Orleans Saints to get Derek Carr to take a pay cut and then cut Derek Carr at his lower cap number.
Oh. Okay. They bring in Devontae Adams to make Derek Carr happy. Derek Carr takes a pay cut to make it work. Then they cut Derek Carr.
They make Derek Carr think that they'll bring Devontae Adams so that he takes a pay cut to afford.
Oh, so they don't even actually bring Devontae in. Oh, okay.
That's evil.
Oh, that is evil. Oh, that would burn a lot of reputation points in the league with players if you did that. Okay, that would be a story though, hey? Okay, you know what? Let's move on to our best fantasy lineup from the NFC North. Now, obviously, I went very Lions heavy, and it paid off. I went Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and DJ Moore is my flex. I took a shot here thinking Justin Jefferson wouldn't do it because I thought J.J. McCarthy was going to be his quarterback in year one. It wasn't going to pay out. Andrew went Jordan Love, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Sam Laporta, and Amon St. Brown. Well, Gabriel, who did you pick?
I went with Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Justin Jefferson.
Okay, solid lineup. Here's how it played out. Jared Goff was the number one quarterback at 404 points. Jahmyr Gibbs was the number one running back at 336. Amon St. Brown was the number one wide receiver at 260. Sam Laporta was the number one tight end at 145 points. And then Josh Jacobs was the number one flex play at 271. So you get a half point for choosing Josh Jacobs as your running back and him appearing in your flex. Amon St. Brown, Andrew will get a half point for choosing Amon St. Brown as a flex play, even though he was the number one wide receiver. I think Justin Jefferson's going to be okay next year. I think he's going to be a safe pick, regardless of who the quarterback is. I think Justin Jefferson would have been the number one flex play had he not gone out for, 3 or 4 games due to injury.
Was he close to St. Brown, or was there a huge gap between the two?
I think the on pace, I think they were pretty much the same, if not Jefferson by a bit. Yeah, I think Jefferson was on pace for more, but he didn't miss any games.
No?
How does that? But he did. Justin Jefferson shows as a number 2 wide receiver in our league. How did I miss that? Hang on. Bear with me. Amon St. Brown was the number 3 wide receiver in our league, according to scoring. He got 258. Was there like a stat correction? Because I have 260. And Justin Jefferson finished the season with 265. Okay, now let me get Josh Jacobs up here. Josh Jacobs finished the season with 275. So not even 271. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Josh Jacobs still remains the
number one flex spot.
number one flex, but it's Jefferson as the wide receiver.
So Andrew.
Which definitely, so Andrew gets that point. We do not. And you get a half point for it being in your flex play.
Yep.
Wow, there we go.
Loads of half points on this one.
Jeez, talk about some divisive changes. Okay, well, thank you for catching that.
Is there another tight end in this division that's worth it outside of Laporta? Because I feel like 145 points is not that big.
No, it is not.
Number one, but he did regress a whole lot.
Tucker Kraft did 138, and he didn't even play a lot. And he was a number 9 tight end. He did. It wasn't until week 4 that he got a touchdown. Sam Laporta was only tight end 7 on the season. Cole Kmet.
How did he finish? Low.
Tight end 18. Yeah, he did not finish well. And who would have been the other tight end that could have been? There was nobody. Munt, maybe? Because it wasn't Hawkinson, because he missed a good chunk of the season. Hawkinson finished 33, and Johnny Munt finished
probably lower.
49. Okay.
So don't pick a Viking tight end under Sam Darnold.
No, not right now. Yeah, there we go. So not as dominant of a selection as I thought. Totally whiffed on that. Aw, dang, yo. Oh well. It's always next summer.
Yeah.
Pick a whole new list.
I feel like the list.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show.
Close at what it is right now for this division.
Yeah, I don't see there being a lot of changes outside of a quarterback change from Minnesota, and I think they're getting a new running back because Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent. So maybe they bring him back, maybe they find somebody else. But Josh Jacobs showed that he's reliable as a running back one. Jefferson, Amon St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Love, Jared Goff probably going to be in that same quarterback battle. I don't know if Caleb Williams emerges. I don't know if I don't expect much from Chicago, so I'm not going to put a lot of investment into their players until I see them do it.
I mean, DJ Moore was good with Justin Fields, so you could argue he could be good with Caleb Williams under a new OC and a new head coach. So why not?
Well, totally agree. Ben Johnson manufactured success for this offense. I suspect he's going to do the same. He's going to find out what the team can do, what the players can do, and then manufacture plays that meet and match their skills and abilities, which I think is the best way to do it. Don't run a system and try and fit players into it. Build a system that fits your players. Yeah. Well, that's it for tonight. We are rounding out the end of this particular season as we get close to the end of our season 4 in the podcast, moving on to season 5. We got one more episode. Next week, we got Slick on the show. He's coming in to help us break down the AFC West. And that'll wrap this season. So, thank you for sticking around, hanging out, and having fun with us. Gabriel, always a pleasure to have you on the show, being a part of this, lending your thoughts and your insights. Hopefully your Commanders get choked out by a lion next year. But, hey, well, we'll wait and see.
The funny thing is, when I was watching that game, I thought about you. Yep. I thought about messaging.
No, I bet you did. And the tears rolling down my face.
I said to myself, if it did the same, I would be pissed. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut for this right now.
Oh yeah. Hey, you know what? To lose to a team like that, it doesn't break my heart. It sucks that we didn't advance as far. But it's a team that essentially did what the Lions did. You brought in a new coach, you changed the culture, you showed up, you played out, you had a great season. Things are going well for you. The scary part is you're a young team. Terry McLaurin is your old guy. I imagine there's going to be okay, well I don't really count him as a member. I still think of Bobby Wagner as a Seahawk.
Yeah.
So Bobby Wagner's like your old man, but still. Yeah, no, good things going for him, right? The moment they beat, I'm like, all right, well, hey, this is a team I want to see great things from. It didn't happen when you faced Philly, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl. Yay. Next year, man. Yeah. Next year.
Fingers crossed.
New young teams are rising. It's fun to see. Well, that's it for this week's folks. Thank you very much for sticking around and enjoying the show. We hope you like it. Remember, from one poor man to another, if it's not fun, it is not worth doing. Good night, everybody.